What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to be talking a little bit about Anthony Richardson. And, there's a lot of strong reactions to Anthony Richardson since he came in the league. He's been a polarizing player considering the fact that he's only started 6 games and what everybody kind of thinks he should be. I know there was a lot of talk, especially here amongst Colts Nation, of what he could be this season. Some of the media, the Kay Adams of the world, Brian Baldingers of the world, who were pumping up Anthony Richardson in the offseason, talking about the special plays he can make. We've seen some of the special plays he can make, particularly in the Texans game where he was able to make some special plays, of course. So going in and really starting to examine Anthony Richardson, the situation around Anthony Richardson. And, I had a pretty strong overreaction to the game on Sunday, right, with the Gus Has to Go video and, talking about, the overreaction Monday video and everything that was entailed in there. And the one thing that I come away with is that I have to continue to tell myself that we're supposed to be patient with Anthony Richardson. We need to be patient with Anthony Richardson. We knew coming into the NFL, he was so young, he had so limited experience. We know it's going to take time for him to develop into the player that he will eventually be, right? We see the special talent that he has. It's just about doing it consistently, right? And becoming a pro in that sense. And that's just got to happen with development. And there are people that are already writing him off, which is absolutely insane. And there's one quarterback in the NFL that when you look at everything, right, outside of number of games played, everything else surrounding the player is so almost identical, right? Like you talk about size, you talk about not so much speed, but athletic ability. Pardon the interruption. I just want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you stopping by the channel. And I also want to say that when I look at the analytics, 50% of the people that come by and watch this channel are not subscribed. So as Peyton's telling you to do here, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn those notifications on so you get notified when any videos come out. Now, if you need any further proof of why you need to subscribe, when you look at the numbers, 62.4% of the views on this channel over the last month have come from people that are not subscribed to the channel. So again, if you're one of those people, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you so much. And let's get back into the video. Right, and we're talking about a guy that's Josh Allen. Right, between his draft profile and how similar his draft profile is to Anthony Richardson's, his athletic profile and how similar that is to Anthony Richardson. And then even from an on-field perspective, right, you talk about Josh Allen and the fact that coming into the NFL, you knew he needed to work on mechanics. You knew that he was going to be a bit of a project, right? He got drafted 6th overall, but you knew you were going to have to work on him. But with the athletic tools that he brought to the table, if you could coach him well enough to figure it out, he would be special. And guess what? Josh Allen has become special, right? Like, and just to give you an example of kind of what I'm talking about, I have a couple things to go through here, right? Josh Allen's draft profile, and tell me, think about Anthony Richardson as I talk about this stuff. And I'm telling you, it's like almost identical. They're basically talking about Anthony Richardson, right? So to start with the positives, Allen's arm strength ranks as the best some scouts have ever seen. Obviously, Anthony Richardson falls into that category. He can easily hit deep comebacks on a line with tight velocity and has the power to push the ball vertically. He can stretch the field the lengths most quarterbacks cannot. Again, Anthony Richardson. Allen has the ability to thread the ball into tight windows and can make wow throws that leave you shaking your head. Of course, that's Anthony Richardson as well. As an athlete, he uses 6'5", 237-pound frame and can run over or around defenders. Anthony Richardson. On the move, Allen can make throws without having to reset his feet and is able to still throw with power while rolling left or right. And lastly, he has played in a pro-style offense and worked under center at Wyoming. So that might be the only thing that's really different from Anthony Richardson to Josh Allen. Of course, besides the number of games played, right? And going through, you look at the number of games played by Josh Allen in college. In 2015, He appeared in 2 games. He only had 6 pass attempts. 4 of those were completed for 51 yards. And then when you look at his rushing, he had 3 rush attempts for 40 yards. But then 2016, 2017, he starts playing more. And in 14 games, he had 28 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. The next year, played in 11 games. And again, not so worried about the stats as I sit here and go through them. But we are just looking at the number of games played, right? Just in college, he appears in 27 games at Wyoming. Anthony Richardson, up to this point, since 2019, Anthony Richardson's played in like 19 games, I believe is the number, or maybe since he went to college. And now the NFL, it's been like 19 games. So very limited experience for Anthony Richardson, but the amount of talent that he has in such limited experience is absolutely ridiculous. The way he's able to read a defense with so limited experience is absolutely ridiculous. That's what makes me feel so good about Anthony Richardson, is that he's so limited from that perspective, in the amount of knowledge that he's taken in, right? You look at on the field is the best way to learn. He's so limited in that aspect, but is already as good as he is. Right, and there's obviously, like, he's going to have to learn how to put touch on the ball. And I feel like last year he started to do that. He's just got to continue to work on that. And then when you insert a guy like Josh Downs back into the offense, I feel like that's going to be really good for him from a perspective where Anthony Richardson's going to have a safety valve that he trusts, somebody that he can throw shorter and that can make plays for him and help get us into 2nd and short or 3rd and short, or pick up a first down, get down the field on a double move, right? A little zig and go, and try to get a double move in the middle of the field, break away from, the safety or linebacker, slot corner, whatever the case may be, right? Josh Downs can be a guy that helps Anthony Richardson be able to be a guy who can sustain drives. That's really where Anthony needs to get better at, is like those big plays are great, and looking downfield for those big throws is great. And getting 15, 20, 25 yards at a time is all nice and well. And listen, he's missed some that have been his fault. Some the receivers are dropping. So it's not all on Anthony so far this season, but for what he needs to work on, I think everything is still in front of Anthony Richardson, which is super cliche thing to say. But when you look, we're looking at the comparisons to Josh Allen, and you think about the things Josh Allen had to work on coming into the NFL. Again, some of his mechanics, he needed to learn to put some touch on the ball. And Josh Allen still worries with that and works on that, right? And still sometimes will miss guys high. And it's just guys that can gun it in there like that. It's like that, right? But Josh Allen and Anthony Richardson are so similar. And there was when Anthony Richardson came into the league last year, August 30th, 2023, Josh Allen went on to the Pat McAfee show and was talking about how he changed his mechanics and what he was doing, the technology he was using, and mentioned how Anthony Richardson was working with the same people to fix his mechanics and work on his mechanics, figure out what he needs to get better at. And having that constant work is exactly how you want your star quarterback to be when he's very young, so that he can become somebody like a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So I think the development's going to be there, right? Everything that we've seen from Anthony Richardson so far in the NFL, which again is limited, but we continue to see more. Like, there's some struggles, and we talked about before the season. You have to expect rookie struggles, right? He's still basically a rookie, even in the games he played last year, right? He basically finished the Jags game. He didn't finish the Texans game, though, and then obviously didn't finish the Titans game. So most of the games he played, he didn't finish, right? He's still very limited sample size for AR up to this point. But even with the limited sample size, right, you look at Josh Allen, right, continuing the comparison, looking at him, and if you've been a fan for a while, right, 2018 is when he came in the league, like, just think about what the narrative was around Josh Allen at the end of his rookie season. People were saying, oh, the same old Bills, always getting it wrong. Can't believe they picked Josh Allen with the number 6 overall pick. And there are going to be a lot of people that attest all of Josh Allen's success to Stephon Diggs. Let me just say, if you look at the averages right now and what he's doing right now, better numbers, more efficient without Stephon Diggs so far through 2 games for the Bills. But overall, when you look and you see what he was able to do, right, 5-6 in the 11 games that he started as a rookie, right, and played in 12 different games. He had 2,074 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. Now, obviously, he's a threat to run the ball as well. In his rookie year, he did really well. 89 carries, 631 yards, 8 touchdowns. So he's always been a factor on the ground. And then you look at every year since then, right? Every game or every year since he's been a starter, where he started 16 games, 17, 16, 17, and so far to this year, right? And now that's where him and AR are different, right? He played more his rookie year while having the experience in college. So more games. He up to this point, still much more games than AR, but then came into his second year with Stephon Diggs. From a running standpoint, the yards actually went down the next couple years for him, but then he still had 9 touchdowns and 8 touchdowns. But obviously, you add Stephon Diggs into the equation, he's going to be better at a passer, more time in the offense. He goes 10-6 after going 5-6, brings his completion percentage up from 52.8 to 58.8, and has 1,000 more yards, 10 more touchdowns, and 3 less interceptions. So from 10 touchdowns and 12 interceptions to 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, right? And then every year since then, like you look at Josh Allen, he's still not consistent with his interceptions, right? 10 interceptions, 15, 14, 18. So still turns the ball over at a large rate, even with as good as Josh Allen is. That's really the only thing that holds them back. But even with all those turnovers, right? 13-3, 11-6, 13-3, 11-6, because the ability is so special for Josh Allen, the things that he can do to overcome some of the mistakes that he makes. Now, the Bills also, for the most part, have had a good defense over the years. Last couple of years, they've had guys getting older and guys that have departed. They've also had some of their older guys that have been injured over these last few years. And so the Bills defense the last couple years, not as good as those first few years in Josh Allen's career, but nonetheless, Josh Allen putting up numbers, and even with the turnovers, winning a lot of games. Now, what has that translated into? Of course, Josh Allen has not won a Super Bowl. So what you want to see from Anthony Richardson is a continuous progression, just like Josh Allen, but you also want to see a guy that continues to get better at making decisions, taking care of the ball. Up until this past game, we hadn't really had an issue with Anthony Richardson turning the ball over, right? He had the one in the Jags game last year, the first game of the season, first game of his NFL career, where Tyson Campbell really kind of just baited him into it and made a good play on defense, and Anthony threw the interception. But outside of that, what we've seen of him, he's made good decisions, typically makes really good decisions. And like his interceptions, for the most part, are just overthrowing guys, right? It's more inaccuracy issues than decision making. Of course, there was one interception, the throw to Pitt, that got picked off in the middle of the field. That one was just a bad decision. But outside of that, Anthony, I feel like, makes good decisions. I feel like he does a good job, almost too good a job, of reading the defense. He gets to a read so fast, and when the guy's not in the spot, like A.D. Mitchell, right? Some of that, in my opinion, is on Anthony Richardson because he reads it so fast. But that's a part where receivers and quarterback have to know each other, right? Josh Downs, quick enough, intuitive enough, smart enough, and in tune with Anthony Richardson enough that he's going to get to his spot as quickly as he possibly can, because he knows AR is reading the defense and AR is able to get the ball to him. He just has to be there. And look, again, AR is going to have to learn how to put touch on the ball. He's got to get better with his accuracy. His pocket presence, though, is so elite for somebody with so little experience. The way he's able to feel the people around him, even coming off the backside, it's just one of those small things that separates some of the good from some of the great quarterbacks, is being able to feel that pressure, be able to get away from that pressure, right? That's why a guy like Kyler Murray, as elusive as he is, that's one of the things that makes him so good. You look at him scramble around all the time, buy so much time, just constantly to be able to make plays. And it's annoying for a defense to be able to do that. And AR has the athletic ability. He can stiff arm a guy away and then run away from everybody else, and then truck a guy when he's getting tackled and he's picking up an extra 2-3 yards, just like Derrick Henry would do, right? So Anthony Richardson, man, it's going to be ups and downs. We talked about it throughout the offseason. Even though we're all so excited and we see the special plays and what he can be, the wait is going to be frustrating. We think we can compete now, right now, with Gus Bradley and the way the defense is playing. Those thoughts may have changed a bit over these first 2 weeks, but nonetheless, we expect the offense to continue to be able to be explosive because of how far Anthony Richardson can throw the ball, because of how good Jonathan Taylor is. We have to get going in the run game. Anthony Richardson needs to be a part of that too, in the same way that Josh Allen is or Lamar Jackson is. There is designed runs, but there's also just seeing that the defense has to respect that deep shot. So when they do drop back to pass, Anthony can quickly just be like, okay, there's a hole here in the middle of the offense. Let me just take it. Let me go pick up 8 yards real quick here on, first down. It's going to be 2nd and 2 here on 2nd down. After Jonathan Taylor just got stopped at the line of scrimmage, boom, all of a sudden 3rd and 2, right? Like things like that. And just being able to stay involved in the game, have a big hand in the game. I think Anthony Richardson over time, we're going to be very pleased with what we get from Anthony Richardson. It's just a little upsetting right now because I think as Colts fans, we had such high expectations, such high hopes coming into this year, right? Shane Steichen and what he brings to the table and what we saw last year from his first year as a head coach. Still a very young head coach. I try to remember that as a coach, he's still, just trying to figure it out. As a head coach, last year was his first year, and he's trying to figure out, this year, how do you send the same message with a different message, right? You gotta make it fresh for the players. You gotta keep things continuing to evolve with time, right? Just like Bill Belichick, right? Bill Belichick kept the same principles but found different ways to tell the same story and give off the same message to his team over the years. So, until, eventually there just wasn't, anything left. I think I have faith that we still have the right duo in Shane Steichen and Anthony Richardson. It's the pieces around the quarterback that have to execute. It's the pieces around the quarterback that have to do their part. The offensive line is playing incredible right now, and we will talk about that after the latest rankings came out. Offensive line's been incredible so far. Anthony's had the time to scan around. If you adjust, there was a 15% drop rate by Colts receivers this past week. If you adjust Anthony Richardson's completion percentage from this past game with the drop passes that happened, and including one that wasn't a drop, but one that AD wasn't ready for. I think it was Anthony's first throw of the game, I'm pretty sure. And AD just wasn't ready for it. It was in the spot it was supposed to be, but AD, I think he might have pulled up a little bit and just wasn't ready for the ball to get there or to come to him right there. But adjusting for that, it's like 67% completion, which changes what he is for the season, right? He's at like 49.8% for the season right now, which obviously isn't great. Goes 9 for 19 in the first game. And then in the second game, can't remember exactly what he was. I think maybe he was like 50% or something like that. So hasn't been great, but also, again, the drops in this last game, not great. He's missed some throws, and there's going to be some of that. Anthony has to execute. The offense has to execute. And over time, I trust it to get better. It's just going to be a bit of a waiting game and a bit of just trying to be patient, waiting for Anthony to blossom into the star that we know he can be, okay? Again, he's basically a rookie, man. Just give him time. He's got to play more games. The experience, the level of experience that he has is well under other players, but he's also, for the second year in a row, the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL, right? Caleb Williams coming in first overall pick. He's just a little bit older. You know, he's also 22 years old, Anthony, just a few months younger than Caleb Williams. But when you look at Caleb, he's coming in, has much more experience playing than Anthony Richardson does. And you look at the offense around Caleb Williams, like the offensive line there for Chicago, not incredible, but you know, he does have incredible weapons. He has DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert in the backfield, two really good running backs. At least, you know, DeAndre Swift pretty up and down, but I'm a big Khalil Herbert fan. You know, if you play fantasy football, you've definitely heard that name. You know who that is. So, you know, I just think for Anthony Richardson, again, continuing to be patient. That's really what this video is about, is just continuing to look at our quarterback and just to be objective, right? The overreaction that comes on Monday, right? That's every Monday. And we'll continue to have overreaction on whether we win or lose. We'll have overreaction Monday on this channel, one way or another. And we might say some outlandish things, and I've seen some people say some outlandish things. People talking about, you know, if we get the first overall pick in the draft, do we go quarterback? That's a great way to do overreaction Monday, but no. Anthony's the guy of the future. Just like Chris Ballard said after Anthony was drafted, it's like, do you want to see this guy go somewhere else and become a star? Like, I'd rather just draft this guy and bring him in here than watch him go somewhere else and become maybe the best quarterback to ever play the game somewhere else, right? With as talented as Anthony is, as gifted as Anthony is, you know, mentally it seems, physically, of course. I just think he's going to be a special quarterback. We just got to give him time. We got to be easy on our quarterback, man. He's very inexperienced. As he gets the experience, he has, again, I believe he has the right coaching staff around him. And I believe this coaching staff is still learning and developing. So, again, it's a little frustrating as fans to kind of think about, oh, a development year. And, you know, I think we can make the playoffs. You know, winning a Super Bowl, like, there would have to be a lot of development from now to the end of the season. You have to be able to make the playoffs, of course, but you know, anything's possible. It's just, I think our expectations have come back a little after these first 2 weeks. So maybe the team can come out and do something that flip-flops that and makes us think well about the way things are going to go in the future. But whatever the case is, we'll be talking more about the matchup and what's to come. Again, going to be talking about the offensive line. I want to do another video for that. There's plenty of content coming, and we'll be live during the game on Sunday. So make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime we have any more content dropping on this channel or when we go live on this channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.